Okay, good morning. It's 11 o'clock. We're going to get started. Good morning, ambitious business owners. My name's Susie Campbell, and I'm the founder of Little Black Book Marketing, and I am the leader of this group. And I'm wanting to talk to you about SourceBottle today. So I know there's been a lot of interest about this. Lots of you use it or maybe want to try and start using it. And I know we've got a mixture of people who are complete beginners, or some that have dabbled with it and maybe got a bit frustrated because they've not gotten the results that they thought they could. So I'm going to share my experience of SourceBottle. And I've used SourceBottle for, 2 or 3 years now, and signed up initially, didn't use it to its full potential, but now use it regularly, literally daily. And that could be for myself and my own business, and also use it for my clients to help them reach the media. And it's a great complementing tool if you're already using media, or it can be a standalone one to get you started. So for those of you who are new to it, or maybe don't even know what SourceBottle is a free online software that connects businesses and individuals with media. And that could be media such as mainstream journalists, newspaper journalists, radio broadcasters, TV producers, or it could be bloggers, podcasters, that sort of thing. Industry publications, there's a real mixture of the media journalists on SourceBottle using it. But for you, it's free. You can connect with these journalists when they put out their call outs. So the call outs are called drink up alerts, and they come out twice daily, around just after 10 o'clock and just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And you get an email. And you get an email alert when you sign up to SourceBottle. You can choose which industry sectors that you want to receive information on. So if you're in the health and wellness space, you can tick all the boxes that correspond to health and wellness. Now I've got pretty much every box ticked because as I say, I'm not only looking for myself, but I'm also looking for clients who are in a range of industries. But what I recommend is don't try and stick just to your business industry, because I'm going to explain how SourceBottle can be used a little bit broader. So depending on how committed you are to using SourceBottle, I'd be ticking a lot more of the boxes. You may want to avoid things that are completely nothing connected with you or your business. I don't know, maybe engineering or politics, something like that. If it's absolutely not connected to you personally, or your family, or your experiences, or your business, then you can, fairly safely leave that unticked. But tick as many as could be relevant, because you might miss out on a great opportunity if you haven't ticked that box. Okay, so first tip. So as I explained, the drink up alerts will come into your inbox every day, twice a day, just after 10, just after 2. If you're committed to doing this and you want to make this work, my first piece of advice is that you read that immediately. Literally, as soon as it hits your inbox, that's got to be a priority email to read. Why? Because the quicker you can respond, the more likely you are to get picked up. So each alert will, each individual call out within the drink up alert will have a deadline on it. Now, sometimes the deadline might be the same day. Other times it could be a week or 2 out. But ignore the deadline in terms of, don't think, I've got till 4 o'clock today to reply to that. The deadline should be as quickly as you can turn it around. So if I'm responding for a client or myself, I'll be straight onto it. Because basically the journalists have put that call out because they want a response, and they're time poor, they need the story. And if the first story that comes in is great, they won't even bother reading any more of the responses. They've got what they need, job done, articles written, or they've connected with the person and they've got what they need. You've missed out on the opportunity, even if you've got a fantastic story. And this is what I hear a lot. They say, it was perfect for me. And I described how perfect it was for me, but they didn't pick me up That's probably because somebody got in before you. It's not the only reason, and I'll explain some other reasons. But time is crucial to success with SourceBottle. So, for example, I've just seen the 10 o'clock one come in. I've already read it. I've checked if there's anything suitable for me or clients. Delete if not. And there wasn't anything this time that I wanted. But the other interesting thing about the call-outs is you will if you read them regularly and you're religious about reading them every day, you will start to see themes running through the sorts of topics that journalists are calling out for. And that's a great clue for you and your business. So if, for example, in the lead up to special occasions, whether that's Christmas or Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, you will see how soon the journalists are calling out for it. And it's usually, a month or two before. And that's the prompt for you as a business owner to think, oh, okay, can I capitalize on this occasion? Also, topical things in the media you'll start to see. So, for example, the children that are trapped in the Thailand caves, the football team, the children, that could be a great opportunity for somebody to talk about maybe the psychology of isolation and, talking about how that's going to affect the children. And you'll start to see these things coming through, people asking questions because the media want to respond to those sorts of stories that are happening. So do read them, not just to find ones to respond to, but to get an understanding of what's happening in the media, what's hot, what's not. Okay, so my next point. So I talked about looking at topics that aren't necessarily just for your business. And this is because sometimes there could be a non-business related topic. It could be a personal experience. It could be something to do with children. And if you've got children, you could be a fit for it. Don't write those off. If you've got time, quite often, they're a great way for you to not only practice doing a call out, understanding what the media want when they call you up, how you deal with that, and getting used to speaking with journalists. And quite often you might be able to weave in what you do. So if your business is child related, but you're using you and your children as an example, it might be that you can make a comment about how your business has allowed you to learn this or overcome something. But what it also does is when it's published, it gives your followers an insight into you as a person. So if you'd shared a story about maybe your journey out of the corporate world into business, yes, it's not directly about your business, it's about how you've exited corporate. That's a great story for your followers to read about you. And quite often and using the media is about building connections with your audience and making them build that trust and credibility around you. So seeing a story about you in the media elevates you and your position over somebody else. And obviously, ultimately, being in the media reaches many hundreds and thousands more people than you could with a Facebook ad or a print ad. And as I say, also elevates your credibility. So using the media is a fantastic tool anyway. So don't just write off non-business related topics. Okay, responding to SourceBottle callouts. I get asked a lot about this. So when you're responding, yes, you've got to do it immediately, as quickly as you can. But they don't want war and peace. So this is not writing your life story. It's not giving all the detail to respond. But it's very important that you answer the question that they've asked, or because quite often they will say, we want someone who does this, this, and this. And you've got to be, if you don't fit that criteria, don't answer it. Don't try and massage yourself to fit that. Or don't try and say, oh, well, I haven't got that, but I've got this. Don't bother replying to that one. But if you do fit it, make sure you answer what they've asked for. So if they say, give us your email address and link to your website, give it. If they say, can you describe this, then describe it. So make sure you give them exactly what what they've asked for. Hello, Lou, nice to see you. Good morning to you. So yeah, make sure you respond with what they've asked for, but keep it short and sharp and concise. What I also recommend is that you don't give away everything. You want to hook the journalist and make them curious to know a bit more about you or the situation that you're talking about. It could be something fun, it could be something quirky, it could be something that very few people have experienced. Whatever it is, make it sound exciting, even if it's not necessarily exciting, but really try and hook the journalist and make yourself stand out from the others. So don't be cutting and pasting your 100-word bio or, standard patter selling you and your business. That's not what a SourceBottle call out's about. They're wanting something specific for an article or TV show or radio show. So yeah, keep it short and sharp, and really aim to hook the journalist. And on the point of answering what they want, make sure that every single call out is bespoke. So as I say, it's not about cutting and pasting your bio every time to try and sell yourself to fit a call out. Every single time you reply is different. So I don't keep a response that I cut and paste every time. Neither do I do for my clients. So for my clients, that's the time and effort I have to put in to get to know each of my clients well enough to be able to respond to these every time. And for you as business owners, you know your business better than anybody. So you must respond in a bespoke manner every single time. So no cut and paste jobs, I'm afraid. Okay, so how to choose which ones to reply. Again, there's a bit of a trick around this as well, because I've got clients who will send me every single SourceBottle call out that slightly relates to them. But I always do a bit of digging first if I can. So don't just read the short version on the email and think I'm going to reply to that. Click onto it, read what it's asking. If there's any clue as to maybe what the blog is or what the publication is, Google it, look at it, see if it is actually a fit for you, because you don't want to waste your time responding to call outs from, say, for example, they're a brand new, this happens a lot on SourceBottle, and I'm not disregarding them that it's a waste of time, but you need to be a little selective. And especially if you're starting out, you want to make best use of your time and put your effort into where it's going to get you a return. So there's a lot of call outs on SourceBottle that might be new websites that basically want content. They're not really particularly fussy. They're just accepting blog submissions from anybody and everybody to help them with SEO, to help their website build up. That's not necessarily going to work for you. It's not going to be the best use of your time. So be a little bit selective. Whereas if you see a call out and it says major metro newspaper or ABC radio or something, you know that it's a quality publication or quality media outlet, something that would elevate your position, as we've talked about, build your credibility and be valuable to you. So they're the sorts of ones that if you are a good fit, you want to bite those first and go for those, put your effort into those. Some of the others are nice to have. And as I say, I haven't written them off and I've replied to some of the blog opportunities. So sometimes they might just want a quote around something. Sometimes they might want a full blog. And if it's a full blog and it's can't have been published anywhere else, so it's not as if you can just send them one you've already written, then you've got to weigh up the time that it will take you to do that and the value in being on that blog. What are they going to do for you in return? Hi Emma, nice to see you. You should be able to watch this back if you've missed the beginning. But hello, thank you. So yes, when you've done a bit of digging around and you've had a look at it, weigh up the time it takes to respond and what it is they're asking for, as to whether it's going to be of value to you and your business. And as I say, I have done some of those, but I'm committed to using SourceBottle and I'm committed to using the media. So I'm selective about which ones I go for. If you're not sure, then it's worth a punt. Give it a go. And if when they respond to you and they come back and they say, this is what it's for, and you have a look at it and it's not really for you, then there's no harm in just saying, oh, thank you. I don't think it's really a good fit for my business. But if you're not sure, have a go, because there's no harm in it and you don't know where it's going to lead. Links to your site is going to be useful if they're going to share it. Maybe they'll post on social media and they'll tag you. So it can be valuable. Don't write them off. But as I say, do look first. Don't just respond to everything and anything, because that could actually damage your brand if you're seen on, maybe sites that aren't really a target market, and it's a bit confusing to your customer base. So be selective. Okay. Consistency is also key to using SourceBottle. Don't give up after a week, and you've responded to 2 or 3 and you don't get anything. If you've followed my earlier tips and you've been doing it for a week and you haven't got anything, don't give up. As I say, it does work. Trust me, I've lost count of the amount of coverage I've received and my clients have received through SourceBottle. But the great thing about SourceBottle is when you do connect and get picked up and a journalist contacts you back, that is a connection for you. That's a warm lead of a journalist or producer, or whoever it might be, that you can use again. So I'll give you an example of a pitch I made for myself, and it was a personal issue, but I knew it was an ABC reporter. And I wanted that contact because I knew she was writing in my industry as well, even though this call out was for a personal response. I now have a warm contact with her. I've since pitched her something else, and she's working on an article that hopefully I get some coverage in. So it's the contacts you make that can be so valuable. And I've done that lots of times. I've had clients in the Daily Mail that I've since pitched to. I've actually had a situation where I've pitched, and because it was a certain industry, they've then called me 2 or 3 times, different journalists from the same paper, saying, oh, we've got you down as being this and this. Can you give us a quote for such and such? Or would you be happy to be featured in an article on, something else? Because they know I fit their demographic. They wanted a female with young children and they wanted Sydney based. And so literally within a week or 2, I was being called by other journalists from that paper to be in other articles. So don't underestimate it. And even if you don't contact them again for another few months, it's someone for your little black book, and you can build it up. Same with the smaller blogs or podcasters even. It might not be someone you can connect with straight away, but later down the line, they could be really useful to you as your business grows, or you feel that they're now a fit for you. Don't underestimate the contacts you can make. Okay, so if you do a pitch and they come back to you, fantastic. My next piece of advice is time again, is respond as soon as you can. Don't sit on that email for a couple of days. When you've taken the time to respond quickly, you've been picked up, they've selected you. If I always include my telephone number, even though it doesn't ask for it, and sometimes journalists have called or texted me rather than emailed. So however they come back to you, respond as quickly as you can to that, because they want your story. And as I've explained, they're working to deadlines, tight deadlines. And if they've got to turn that article around and they need to get it to their editor, then they need your information straight away. And quite often they'll interview you immediately or say, can I call you this afternoon to discuss? So be ready to respond. So if, for example, there's a call out on a Friday, the Friday afternoon one, say, and you're going to be away for the weekend and the following week, you probably don't want to do it, because you need to be around and on the end of a phone or on the end of your email to respond to them. So weigh that up. It sounds a bit daft, but I have had clients do that. and they miss it because they were away. It's like, well, don't respond to it in the first place then, because you're wasting everybody's time and you'll miss an opportunity, and the contact's unlikely to bother with you again because you're deemed unreliable. Okay, so the other way you can use SourceBottle is not just responding to call outs that they're sending out, but you can use SourceBottle if you need an expert or a contribution to something. And I've done this a few times. So I'll give you an example of an article I was writing for Inside Small Business. And I needed a couple of business owners in a certain industry, and I needed bricks and mortar. And so what I did was, rather than spending time trying to find the people I wanted, I put a call out myself. And I explained what I was doing, explained I was writing an article, because I quite often write for other publications just because I like writing. And I called out for some particular business owners. I got a fantastic response, and I was able to use these in my article, which was fantastic for them because they've got featured and it's been turned into a 4-part series in Inside Small Business. So I've been able to quote them. So they get featured for absolutely nothing. They've not paid me anything to do it. And I just wanted to write. And so I was able to use SourceBottle to get all the information I wanted. And those people have stayed connected with me, which is lovely, and I find out how they're doing in their business. But it's a very quick way to gather the information you need. So if you're writing a blog, for example, and I always encourage my clients to do this, rather than you having to write a blog every week, month, however often you blog, it might be that you want to write on a subject and you use an expert voice or a guest blogger 1 month because it aligns with what you're doing. And if you don't know somebody in that space, then SourceBottle is a great way to find that person. So for me, if in marketing and media, if perhaps I wanted to find somebody who was in, let me think, I'm trying to think of a complementing business. Well, let's just say, I don't know, web design or something. Even though I've got a web designer, but say, for example, I didn't, and I wanted a web designer to talk about how the visual look of a website is important as part of branding, then I might get them to quote or to guest blog. And it's a great way to collaborate with other businesses and reach new audiences. So SourceBottle is great for that too. But be very specific about what you want. Otherwise, you'll be inundated with people. You won't have a chance to go through them all. And it'll take you a lot of time to sift through what's appropriate and useful and what's not. So be very specific about what it is you need, how you want people to respond, when you want them to respond by, and what it is you want from them. But it can be really useful. Okay, I think they're all my tips at the moment. So just a quick recap, because I wanted to keep this to half an hour and we're just about on it. If anybody's got any questions or comments, or there's something I haven't covered, or maybe something's happened with a SourceBottle call out and you're not sure how to deal with it, just post your comments below. If you're not watching this live, please post them and I will pop back every now and again and check if there's any more comments. Equally, I've popped my calendar booking link in the top. So if you're interested in using media for your business, whether it's just SourceBottle or whether you want to have a go at doing media for your business outside of SourceBottle, then happy to have a chat with anybody to see if it's something you could use and whether it would benefit you. Always happy to talk to you guys. So to recap, consistency, time of response is absolutely crucial. Don't give War and Peace. It's short, sharp and concise, but most importantly, it's hooking the journalist. Make that journalist want to read on and find out more. Emma, consistency, good point. Yes, I just gave up after being ignored many times. Yes, and as I say, but Emma, it's the speed of the response. So a lot of people tell me that they've been using it for weeks or months and they've never got anything and they're being ignored. But you need to be the first one that replies. So Beck Darrington, the founder of SourceBottle, who I know, laughs because she sees that I'm one of the first to reply to so many of them. Literally, when the drink alert comes out just after 10 and just after 2, you need to drop everything, read it, respond there and then. Because I would probably say about 70% of the time, I've been picked up because I was the first one to reply, or one of the very first, and they've got what they need. And that happens with the major public, so things like ABC Radio, Daily Telly, Daily Mail, the major publications. Bloggers and podcasters, not so important. Yes, opening quickly and replying, great. Okay, so it might just be refining how you reply and not trying to sell yourself, but to give the hook to the journalist. Yes, they do come out specific times. Yeah, it's like a few minutes after 10 and a few minutes after 2, Monday to Friday. So there's none over the weekend. So yes, it's about hooking the journalist, and that's really, really important. And you'll see my earlier tips, Emma, about not just cutting and pasting your CV or a bio or anything like that. Okay, so if anyone's got any questions, we've got a couple of minutes and I can answer those for those of you watching. Otherwise, as I say, please post your comments and I will answer. And any successes with SourceBottle from you guys, please share them in the Media Wins Day in the group, because I love to see people using them. And I would never. Good, Emma. And I will, and I always share my media wins for whether it's clients or myself. And I'll let you know whether it was generated from a SourceBottle call out. A lot of them are. Seriously, I've had so much coverage from it. So it can be done, and I'd love to hear from you guys that are using it. So thank you ever so much for listening. Have a super week. It is Monday, yes, gosh. It's Monday, and I will see you all in the group. Thanks, guys.